Well, before I start today, I just want to flip a coin, and I'd like everyone in the audience to just decide in your heads, heads or tails.
Heads.
Tails it is. Alright. My name's Guang Li. I'm an exchange student here at Emory, originally from the University of Sydney, Australia. And yes, orange is my favourite colour. I was born in China, but grew up in Australia, and there's a reason for that. See, shortly after I was born, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. It's a type of cancer where the white blood cells in the bone marrow are overproduced and essentially crowd everything else out. They're the purple things in the picture. It's the most common form of childhood cancer and affects about 1 in every 50,000 people. Now, when I was first diagnosed, I was given a 50-50% chance of survival. In other words, a coin flip. So did you get it right? Now, at the time, the world's foremost expert in childhood leukemia, Professor Valor, was in Sydney, and so we moved. And for the first 12 years of my life, I had no idea. I was never told, no one ever told me that it wasn't normal for a kid to go to hospital every month. And for me, I mean, at the time, it seemed like a pretty good deal. I skipped a day of school every month, and the next day I would proudly tell my friends that I went for my regular checkup, never realizing that none of my friends ever had their regular checkup. Ignorance is bliss, right? And then when I was 12, Professor Valor sat me down in his office, and he asked me, so, Guang, how long have you known? And I think I gave this kind of vague, ambiguous answer. You know when you don't really know anything, but you don't want the other person to know that you don't know. So, yeah, you all know that. So he said something like, a while? So he sat me down, and he said, you had leukemia. And I kind of just stared at him. And I didn't register a word he said after that first sentence. And the next time I saw him, I told him as much, and had him sit down with me and go through everything again. I had leukemia. They were 99.9% sure that I was cured. I had had chemotherapy, and so forth. And over the next couple of years, my experience became one of the most important inspirations in my life. Almost never getting to do all of the amazing things that I've done so far is a really scary thought. And that thought motivates me to go out and take every opportunity that I can to do what I love. And already in life, I've had some amazing opportunities to take advantage of my dreams. I was cast as a lead actor in a Hollywood film called The Children of Guang Li. That's Jonathan Rhys-Meyers there, by the way. That was pretty cool. I'm on exchange in America. I'm oddly proud of this photo, although I don't think I actually should be. I got the opportunity to date the first girl I ever fell in love with. That was pretty cool. I know. Knowing that, but for a coin flip, I might not be here. And I might not have done all of those amazing things. It strips away everything unimportant and leaves me with a perspective on what is. Memorable experiences and the people you love. So I'll get back to those in a little bit. But if you look through history, it's not uncommon to find a lot of people who have made their most significant, prolific, and profound contributions to life in the face of death. So I'd like to tell you 2 such stories. Some of you may know the late Professor Randy Pausch. He was a lecturer and professor in computer science and human-computer interaction and design at Carnegie Mellon University. He was a one-time Disney Imagineer. He founded Alice, a free software programming environment software, and he launched and taught successful courses and degrees at CMU. Now, over the course of his professional career, he taught thousands upon thousands of bright young minds and inspired them. But his most significant contribution came in 2007, a year after he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and given a terminal diagnosis. He delivered a lecture called The Last Lecture, Really Achieving Your Childhood Dreams. And in it, he talks about his childhood dreams, what he's learned from them, how he's trying to enable the dreams of others, and how we can use that knowledge to achieve dreams of ourselves. Now, this video has over 13 million hits. And I don't know if you can see the small stats below, but it also has 49,442 likes. 1,727 people have no soul. True story. Now, he's taught and inspired over thousands and thousands of people, but in this one 76-minute, 27-second video, he's inspired over 13 million people. And that, I think, is extraordinary. It's an extraordinary lecture. And one of the things he talks about is a thing he called head fakes. Teaching one thing by making your students think that you're teaching another. And at the end of the lecture, he reveals two head fakes. And the first is that this lecture is not actually about really achieving your childhood dreams. It's about life and how to live it. Because your dreams follow from that. And the second head fake is that this video was not intended to inspire over 13 million people. That was a fortunate byproduct. It was intended to inspire and guide his 3 kids after he was gone. That he wrote and delivered this lecture specifically for his 3 children says something very poignant, I think, about the passage of time. And in fact, he once wrote that he was glad to be dying of cancer as opposed to any other way, because at least he had the time to prepare his family for his death. Randy Pausch passed away on July 25th, 2008. The second person I'd like to talk about is Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy is the most decorated US soldier of World War II. Despite being underage, underweight, and far too short, he tried to enlist first for the Marines, then for the Navy, then for the US Army paratroopers, and finally got accepted into the Army proper. After the war, he had a successful career as an actor and also a composer. But like Randy Pausch, his most significant contribution came in the face of death. On January 26th, 1945, he found himself fighting near Holtzwihr, France. His unit had been severely weakened to 19 out of 128 men, and they were under attack by the Germans. His solution, his action was to send his troops back to the rear and continue the fight, single-handedly calling in artillery fire from the front line. He took over an abandoned tank destroyer and single-handedly took on 6 German Panzer tanks and 250 infantrymen. Oh, and the tank destroyer, it was on fire. Because it's not nearly dramatic enough if something's not burning. So he fought this way for an hour. He sustained an injury, but he didn't stop until his phone line had been cut and he ran out of ammo. At which point, he wanders back to his troops, organizes them in a successful counterattack, and wins. For his actions, he was awarded the Medal of Honor, the highest military award for bravery, as well as 32 other decorations, including some from other countries, and every single decoration for Valor available at the time. But what was most interesting for me, is that when he was asked why he did all of this, why he would jump into something that was on fire, he said very simply, they were killing my friends. They were killing my friends. Fitzgerald wrote in Gatsby, let us learn to show friendship for a man while he is alive. But more than that, let us learn to show friendship and do the things that are important to us while we can, when we can, and because we can, and not because death or time or anything or anyone else forces us to. So when you think about these achievements, I think there are 2 ways of thinking about it, and here's the first one. In the face of death, Randy Pausch inspired over 13 million people. That's the first way. Here's the second way. In 76 minutes, 27 seconds, Randy Pausch inspired over 13 million people. Now imagine what we could do with a whole lifetime of these actions. Of course, granted, we can't all deliver a life-changing lecture every 76 minutes, and we can't all save our friends' lives every hour, but what we can do is take every opportunity that gets given to us to do the things that are important. See, in our day-to-day lives, we often have these opportunities to do these important things, but we don't take them. We need a catalyst. And when you think about death, death forces you, it inspires you to do the things that are important to you that you weren't doing despite the fact that they are important to you. And why? Why do we need a catalyst? Why do we need a catalyst to push us out the door? Well, we shouldn't. And we don't, because if these things are truly important to you, then you shouldn't have to be forced to do them. This is one of my favorite quotes. There are people who put their dreams in a little box and say, yes, I've got dreams, of course I've got dreams. And they put the box away and take it out once in a while to look at it and, yep, they're still there. These are great dreams, but they never even get out of the box. It takes an uncommon amount of guts to put your dreams on the line, to hold them up and say, how good or how bad am I? And that's where courage comes in. In my life, I've had some amazing opportunities, and I have a lot more dreams to go. I want to work as an investment banker, and for a skinny Asian kid, that's laughably stereotypical. I want to continue to act and make films, and for a skinny Asian kid, that's laughably unstereotypical. Read Disowned, for everyone who's not Asian. I want a shoe phone. I got nothing. I just think it's cool. I want to live in New York. I want to live in Paris. I want to be a father. And the thing is, every single one of us here has these dreams, has all of these amazing dreams, but we are always this close. We are always this close to never achieving those dreams. And you just never know how much time you have left. So find out what is important to you. Don't waste a moment. And do what you love. There's one other thing. See, I've been talking about death. Death as a catalyst. Death helping you pull your dreams out of the box. I'm sorry to be so morbid. But I started to think about it, and I realized that I don't think it's a very good catalyst. Because, I mean, sure, it's effective. It forces you to do the things that you love, but, well, it's not very practical, is it? I mean, you know, what are you and I going to do? We can't very well go home and happen to die, or happen to almost die, or almost kill ourselves. You know, it's not something we can control. Hopefully. It's not something we can control. So I thought about this, and I realized something. See, I try to take my opportunities. For example, when I was given the role in the Children of Guang Li, I mean, why did I take that? See, it's not because I could. It's not because the role was offered to me. You know, it's not because just for the heck of it, because I had the opportunity, no. And it's not because someone told me that I should. It was my decision. I did it because I love acting. You know, and the idea of telling a story by being someone else for an hour, 2 hours, a show, a day, a week, for eternity maybe, considering DVDs. I think that's really cool. I love it. And why do I want a shoe phone? You know, it's not because I think it's the most practical invention in the history of mankind. I think it's awesome. I love it. And why do I want to live in New York? Why do I want to be a father? Death isn't the catalyst. It never was. Love is. And I can give you no greater reason, no bigger catalyst, no better inspiration to do what you love.